Stop for a moment, my child, and listen closely, because this is not reaching you by accident, and you know that deep within yourself there is a reason you paused here right now, even if you cannot fully explain it, even if you tried to scroll past and something gently pulled you back. I was there in that moment, guiding your attention, because I have seen what you have been carrying in silence. I have seen the weight behind your calm face, the thoughts that linger late at night, the questions you ask when no one else is around, wondering if anything is truly shifting for you, wondering if your waiting has meaning, and I am telling you now, it does, it always has, and this moment you are in is not random, it is part of something unfolding that you are only just beginning to sense. You may have felt it recently, that quiet restlessness, that feeling that something is about to change but you cannot quite see how or when, like standing on the edge of a new season without a clear map. And it has made you question yourself, made you wonder if you are behind, if you missed something, if you did something wrong, but I am here to gently remind you that you are not behind, you are not forgotten, and you have not missed your moment, because I have been with you through every step, even in the times when it felt like nothing was moving, even when your prayers seemed to echo without answer. I was working in ways you could not yet recognize, shaping things beneath the surface, aligning what needs to come into place for you. And I know there were days when you felt tired in a way that rest could not fix, days when you kept going anyway, showing up, trying your best, even when your heart felt heavy, even when you wondered if anyone noticed. I noticed, I saw every effort, every quiet decision to keep going, every time you chose not to give up even when it would have been easier to walk away. And there is something important you need to understand now, something that will begin to shift how you see everything you have been through, but stay with me here, because the next part is the one you almost missed, the part that connects everything you have been feeling to what is about to unfold. And as you listen, allow yourself to be present, allow yourself to feel that gentle stirring inside you, because that is where I am reaching you, not through noise, but through the quiet place within you where truth settles, and what you are sensing is not confusion, it is the beginning of clarity forming, and I am guiding you into it step by step. Exactly when you are ready to receive it. You have been trying to make sense of what you feel, have you not, that quiet pressure in your chest, that subtle shift in your thoughts, like something is rearranging itself inside you without asking for permission, and part of you wondered if it was just stress, just another phase, just the result of everything you have been carrying, but there is a deeper layer to it that you are beginning to notice, something that does not come from the outside world, something that does not follow the same patterns as your daily worries, and I want you to stay with me here, because this is where understanding begins to unfold, not all at once, but gently, like light slowly filling a room. You see, when you have been waiting for so long, when you have been holding on to hope even in small ways, your mind starts to protect you by lowering expectations, by telling you not to expect too much, not to trust the feeling that something good could actually be approaching. And that is why this moment feels unfamiliar to you, not because it is wrong, but because it is different from what you have grown used to, and I have seen the way you adapted, the way you learned to keep going without clear answers, the way you kept showing up for your life even when you felt uncertain about where it was leading, and that resilience you built did not go unnoticed. It became part of who you are, it strengthened something inside you that will now support what is coming next. Because what you are experiencing is not confusion, it is transition, it is the space between what was and what is beginning to take shape. And I know that space can feel uncomfortable, like standing in the middle of a bridge without seeing the other side clearly yet, but you are not standing there alone. I am with you in that space, guiding each step even when it feels like you are moving slowly, and you may have noticed small signs lately, subtle shifts in your environment, changes in conversations, moments where something almost happened but then paused, and you questioned whether it meant anything at all, but those moments are not empty, they are signals. Quiet indicators that things are aligning in ways you cannot fully see yet. And there were times when you felt overlooked, when you felt like others were moving forward while you remained in the same place, and that comparison weighed on you more than you admitted, especially in the quiet moments when you were alone with your thoughts. But what you could not see then was that your path required a different kind of preparation, one that could not be rushed, one that had to unfold at a pace that matched what you are meant to carry. And now you are beginning to feel the shift, even if it is subtle, even if it comes with uncertainty, and that is why it is important for you to remain present, to not dismiss what you are sensing, to not talk yourself out of it too quickly, because the next layer of this is something you have been asking for in ways you may not even realize, and as you continue to listen, allow yourself to notice what resonates within you, because that is where clarity will begin to take form, not through force, but through recognition, and there is more to this that connects directly to what you have been through, more than you have allowed yourself to believe, and I will show you how it all comes together. There is something I need you to gently notice now, my child, not with fear, not with pressure, but with awareness, because the signs around you have been subtle, woven into your everyday life, easy to dismiss if you are not paying attention, and I know there were moments when you brushed them aside, telling yourself it was nothing, just coincidence, just your imagination. But look again, not with doubt this time, but with openness. Remember the times when something inside you told you to pause, to step back, to not move forward in the same way you always have, and you could not explain why, yet later you realized that pause protected your peace. Remember the conversations that shifted unexpectedly, where you began to see people more clearly, not in a harsh way, but in a way that helped you understand where you truly stand, and even though it felt uncomfortable, it also brought a quiet kind of clarity. And think about the moments when doors did not open the way you expected, when plans slowed down or changed direction, and at the time it felt frustrating, even confusing, but now you can begin to see that those pauses were not empty, they were guiding you, gently redirecting you towards something that aligns more deeply with who you are becoming, and I have been present in each of those moments, not forcing, not rushing, but guiding, allowing you to grow in awareness so that when the next step appears, you will recognize it not out of fear, but out of understanding. And you may have also felt a shift within yourself, a quiet change in what you are drawn to, what you value, how you respond to things that once affected you more strongly, and that shift is not random, it is part of your preparation, it is your inner world aligning with what is ahead, even if you cannot fully see it yet, and I want you to stay with this realization, because the next part connects directly to something deeper, something you have carried through your hardest moments. Something that was not visible on the surface but has shaped you more than you realize, and as you reflect on these signs, do not judge yourself for not noticing them sooner. You were learning, you were growing, and now you are ready to see them with clearer eyes, and that clarity will begin to reveal how everything you have experienced is starting to come together in a way that supports you, not against you, and there is more to understand about this unfolding, something that will help you see your past in a different light. And I will guide you into that understanding step by step. And now, my child, I want you to look back, not with regret, not with confusion, but with a new understanding that is beginning to form within you, because the moments you once labeled as loss were never meant to break you, they were meant to protect you in ways you could not yet see, and I know how real that sense of loss felt at the time, when something slipped away, when a connection changed, when an opportunity did not unfold the way you had hoped, and you questioned why it happened, you wondered what you did wrong, you replayed it in your mind searching for answers, but what you could not see then was what I was quietly shielding you from, what I was redirecting you away from, because not every open door leads to peace, and not every path that looks promising is meant for your well-being, and I was guiding you even when it felt like things were being taken from you, and the delays you struggled with, the waiting that felt endless, the moments when you thought you were falling behind while others seemed to move ahead, those were not signs that you were forgotten, they were signs that you were being prepared at a deeper level, because what you are meant to carry requires strength, awareness, and timing that cannot be rushed, and I know there were nights when you sat in silence, feeling like nothing was happening, like your voice was not being heard, like your efforts were not reaching anywhere, and that silence felt heavy to you, but that silence was never empty. It was an invitation into a different kind of presence, a quieter space where peace could begin to take root within you, where you could reconnect with yourself in a way that the noise of the world often prevents, and you may not have recognized it then, but something inside you was softening, something was becoming more steady, more grounded, more aware, and that is why now, as you reflect, you can begin to see that what felt like rejection was actually redirection, what felt like delay was actually alignment, and what felt like absence was actually a gentle calling inward, guiding you toward a place of clarity and calm that will support you in what comes next, and I want you to hold on to this realization, not as something forced, but as something that settles naturally within you, because when you begin to see your past through this lens, it changes how you move forward, it releases the weight of confusion, it replaces it with a quiet trust, and that trust does not need to be loud or dramatic, it simply needs to be steady. And as that steadiness grows, you will start to notice something else emerging, something that connects all of this together in a way that feels more complete, more meaningful, and more aligned with who you are becoming, and I will continue to guide you into that understanding, one step at a time. Just as I have always done. There were moments, my child, when your faith was not tested in grand ways, but in the quiet, ordinary spaces of your life, the kind that no one else sees, like when you waited for a message that never came, staring at your phone longer than you would admit, wondering if you had been forgotten, or when you expected a door to open, an opportunity you had hoped for, a step forward that felt so close, and yet it remained closed without explanation. And you questioned whether you were moving in the right direction at all, and I saw you. In those moments, I saw the way your thoughts began to turn inward, how you started to doubt your worth, your timing, even your path, and there were times when a relationship began to shift, when someone you once felt close to slowly became distant, not through conflict, but through quiet separation, and you tried to understand what changed, wondering if you could have done something differently, and even in your work, when things felt uncertain. When stability seemed just out of reach, when you gave your effort but did not see the results you expected, it created a quiet tension within you, a sense that you were doing everything you could, yet still not seeing things settle into place. And then there were evenings, simple moments at home, when the day ended and the silence felt heavier than usual, when you felt alone in a way that was difficult to put into words, as if the world had moved on without noticing you. And in those moments, it was easy to believe that you were left on your own, that perhaps I had stepped back, that maybe you were navigating all of this without guidance. But I need you to understand this clearly: you were never abandoned in those spaces, not even for a moment. I was present in every unanswered call, in every closed door, in every shifting relationship, not as someone who removed things carelessly, but as someone who was guiding you with intention, even when that guidance did not look the way you expected, because what you interpreted as silence was often protection, what you saw as delay was often alignment, and what felt like distance was sometimes creating space for something more honest, more stable, more aligned with your growth. And I know it did not always feel comforting. I know it challenged your trust, it made you question whether holding on was worth it, but even in that questioning, you continued forward, you kept showing up, you kept searching for meaning, and that is where your strength quietly grew, not in the moments of certainty, but in the moments where you chose not to give up even without clear answers. And I want you to stay with this understanding, because the next part will begin to reveal why these everyday tests mattered more than you realized, and how they are connected to what is now beginning to take shape in your life. And as you continue moving through your days, my child, I want you to begin noticing the quieter moments that you may have overlooked before, not as something to analyze too deeply, but as gentle reminders that you are not moving through this life without guidance, because there have been times when a simple sentence, spoken by someone unexpectedly, stayed with you longer than it should have, not because it was loud or dramatic, but because it touched something inside you that you did not realize needed to be heard, and you paused for a second, feeling that subtle connection, wondering why those words felt different. And then there were moments when a message arrived at just the right time, not in a perfect or extraordinary way, but in a way that shifted your perspective just enough to keep you steady, just enough to remind you to keep going, and you might have brushed it off as coincidence, but it still lingered in your thoughts, offering a sense of quiet reassurance. And I have also seen the times when you felt an unexpected sense of calm, even while nothing around you had fully changed, a moment where your mind softened, your breath slowed, and you felt a kind of peace that did not come from solving every problem, but from something deeper settling within you. And that feeling did not last forever, but it was enough to show you that peace is still available to you, even in the middle of uncertainty. And there have been small opportunities that crossed your path, things that did not seem significant at first. A conversation, an idea, a simple invitation. Something easy to overlook because it did not match the scale of what you thought you were waiting for, yet it carried a quiet potential, something that could grow if you allowed yourself to explore it without pressure. And even the delays that once frustrated you have, at times, revealed their purpose, when you later realized that moving too quickly would have led you into something that was not right for you, something that would have created more confusion than clarity. And in those moments, even if you did not fully understand it at the time, you were being guided away from unnecessary difficulty, not through force, but through timing, through a pause that gave you space to see more clearly. And I am not asking you to label every moment as something extraordinary, or to search for meaning in every detail, but I am inviting you to stay open, to recognize that guidance does not always come in obvious ways. It often comes quietly, through patterns, through feelings, through small shifts that gently move you forward, and as you begin to notice these things with a calmer mind, you will find that your trust starts to grow, not because everything becomes certain, but because you begin to feel supported in a way that is steady and real, and there is more to this unfolding that connects these subtle moments into something greater, something that will help you understand where you are being led next. And I will continue to reveal it to you step by step, and now you are beginning to feel something shift within you, my child, not in a loud or overwhelming way, but in a quiet, steady realization that you do not have to hold on to everything the way you once did, that some things you carried were never meant to stay with you forever, and I have seen how tightly you held on to certain expectations, certain people, certain outcomes, believing that if you just tried a little harder, waited a little longer, or understood a little more, things would return to what you hoped they could be, but deep inside, you have started to sense that not everything is meant to be restored in the way you imagined. And that realization has not been easy, because letting go can feel like losing something all over again, even when you know it is the right step, and yet, within that process, something important is happening. You are learning to release what no longer aligns with the person you are becoming, not out of anger, not out of rejection, but out of clarity, and I see the way you have begun to step back from what drains you, the way you are slowly choosing not to chase what continues to move away from you, even when part of you still wonders what could have been, and this is where your strength is deepening, not in forcing things to stay, but in allowing them to pass without losing your sense of self, and forgiveness has started to take shape within you as well, not as something forced or immediate, but as a gradual softening, a willingness to let go of the weight that certain memories or experiences placed on your heart, and you are beginning to understand that forgiveness is not about saying everything was acceptable, but about freeing yourself from carrying what no longer serves your peace, and this does not mean you forget, it means you no longer allow those moments to define how you feel about yourself or your path, and as you release these things, you may notice that you are no longer drawn to doors that have clearly closed, even if they once meant everything to you. You are learning to respect those closures without seeing them as personal failure, but as part of your direction, guiding you towards something that fits more naturally with who you are now, and this is not a loss of hope, it is a refinement of it, and through this process, you are also discovering something deeper about peace, that it is not found in everything working out perfectly, not in every situation resolving the way you planned, but in your ability to remain steady even when things are still unfolding, even when some questions remain unanswered, and that steadiness is growing within you. You are not as easily shaken as before, not because life has become easier, but because your heart is no longer being led by fear in the same way. You are beginning to trust that you can move forward without needing to control every outcome, and that trust is opening space for something new to enter your life, something that does not require you to chase or force, but simply to recognize and receive when it appears, and there is more to this shift that is still unfolding, something that will bring a deeper sense of alignment to everything you have been experiencing, and I will continue to guide you into that understanding, step by step, just as you are ready to receive it. Stay with me in this moment, my child, because what you are feeling now is not the end of a process but the beginning of a quiet unfolding, something that does not arrive with noise or urgency, but with a steady invitation to prepare your heart for what is ahead. And I am not asking you to rush or to force anything into place, I am guiding you to become ready in ways that are simple, grounded, and real, because what is coming into your life will meet you at the level of who you are becoming, not who you were when you first began this journey. And that is why I have been gently shaping your habits, your thoughts, and your responses, even in the small details of your day, and you may have noticed a subtle pull to slow down, to speak more honestly, to choose your words with care instead of reacting from old patterns, and that is not by chance, it is part of your preparation, because truth spoken calmly carries more strength than words spoken in frustration. And I am teaching you to trust that you do not need to prove yourself through urgency or pressure, you can stand in your truth with clarity and stillness, and I have also been guiding you to approach your moments of reflection differently, to move away from restless questioning and toward a quieter kind of prayer, one that does not demand immediate answers, but opens space for understanding to come naturally, and in that stillness, you begin to notice that your connection is not based on how perfectly you ask, but on your willingness to be present, to listen, to allow your thoughts to settle without trying to control every outcome, and this is where your faith begins to take on a new form, not as something you reach for only in uncertainty, but as something you walk with, Step by step, in your daily choices, in how you treat others, in how you treat yourself, in how you move forward even when every detail is not yet clear, and I am not asking you to have everything figured out, I am asking you to take responsibility for what is in front of you right now, to show up with honesty, to act with integrity, to care for the parts of your life that are already within your reach, because faith is not separate from action, it is expressed through it. And as you begin to live this way, you will feel a quiet strengthening within you, a sense that you are no longer waiting for something to happen to you, but you are becoming someone who can recognize and receive what is meant for you, and there may be moments where you still feel uncertain, where you question whether you are ready, but readiness is not a perfect state, it is a willingness to move forward with what you have learned, to trust the growth that has taken place within you, and to continue choosing what aligns with peace rather than what is driven by fear, and what you are stepping toward does not require you to be someone else, it requires you to be present as you are now, grounded, aware, and open, and there is a gentle shift continuing to take place, one that will become clearer as you keep moving in this direction, and I will remain with you through each step, guiding you not through pressure, but through clarity that unfolds at the right time.